Everyone's bringing their pets. I know, boys. You're ready to have some fun. Miles and the cat. Oh, that was fun. Goldie. There you are. Guess you don't need this. Okay, gang, go have.
Hi YouTube friends and family. How are you guys doing? I hope everyone is doing well. I needed to take a breath. I am exhausted. This whole summer has gone by in such a blur. I don't even know how I managed to keep afloat. It just seems like I've been nonstop, so busy. I haven't had a chance to really connect with you guys. So I kind of want to slow things down. I know that I don't really get a whole lot of views on this video, on these types of videos, but I do like to share little things here and there with my close friends and family, whether or not YouTube picks it up and puts my video out in the algorithm. We were invited to hang out for the weekend in Havasu with some really good friends of ours that we couldn't pass up because I love Havasu. It's one of my favorite destinations to vacation at. I love the warmer weather. I am such a sunshine girl. We're also going to be heading out to Vegas afterwards for a couple of days to celebrate my other good friend's anniversary. So it's a 2-trip in one, essentially. Before I go, I have to prepare for it though, because I am leaving my kids here. So I'm grateful that I have a babysitter that is going to be hanging out with them for the 5 days that we're going to be gone. And so I want to make sure that before I leave, the house is extremely clean. And I want to make sure that I have plenty of food and snacks for my kids, and I want to get them prepared so that when it's time to get ready for school on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, they don't have a hard time getting ready on their own. The first thing that I want to do is clean out my bathroom, especially my shower, since our babysitter is going to be basically staying in our room for the time that we're gone. So I want to make sure that it's nice and clean and fresh for him. So before I start my workout, I'm going to soak my bathtub and my shower in the scrubbing bubble spray. Man, that was such a great workout. I love working out with Body Fit by Amy. She's just amazing. But anyway, I decided to stop at the Dollar Tree and I picked up these Scrubbing Buddies tools, which were the 2 scrubbers and also the Dollar Tree version of the magic erasers. I was just honestly trying to get this job done as soon as possible because I was in a rush. And so I didn't want to use any of my fancy tools like my steam cleaner and all that. I just wanted to just get it done. And you know what? I think out of all the things that I've ever tried, these simple little tools here was all that I needed to clean my entire shower. And it felt like it took 0 effort to get the job done. I ended up only needing to use the dispensing brush, the one that you fill up to clean the shower. I used the one with the handle later on for the rest of the bathroom, but then I used the magic eraser to get the rest of that scum off the ring around my tub. I can't believe how incredible these soapless little sponges can get all of that dirt off. It's not even really that noticeable, but when you use them around the ring of your tub and you see how much buildup is there, it's just mind-blowing on how well these things work. And you get 3 for $1.25, and I believe I only used 2 of them. I've really been liking using these scrubbing bubbles wipes to clean my bathroom with, especially if I'm short on time. They really do cut the time in half, and I really like that they're flushable. So I use them every once in a while. Usually I clean with a spray cleaner instead. But like I said, since I was in a rush, I just wanted to hurry up and get the job done. So I like having these on hand for moments like that. And then I'll just go over it to wipe off any streaks with a dry cloth. I know I'm kind of late to this, but I hope everyone did well during the Hurricane Hillary. It did kind of affect our area, not so bad because we're protected by the mountains here in the high desert, especially in our little town. But we did have a lot of flooding and a lot of road damages. But other than that, we made it out pretty safe. And the only damages that we had to our house was the leak in our bathroom. So I just needed to clean up that little area. Since we were leaving out of town for several days, I wanted to give my skin kind of like a fresh prep. So I used this Olay Vitamin C scrub to wipe out any dead skin cells on my face. It's not the best quality, but it does work pretty good. It does leave my face feeling smooth, and I seem to like it. I just have to avoid my nose area because of my rosacea, but other than that, I really like it, and it lasts for a really long time. While I was at the Dollar Tree, I found this little eyebrow kit. It's by Tony, and it's a cute little compact. It's probably not the best quality, but it kind of gave me the illusion of using the Revlon cake powder that I used to use back in the day. It's now discontinued, but I wanted to give it a try for those moments when I'm either out of eyebrow pencil, or if I just wanted to take this while I'm traveling, so in case I lose my pencil, I'm not too upset about it because it's only $1.25. But it comes with 2 different colored powders, and it has the wax and it also has the highlighting powder. So with a combination of the dark and the lighter colors, I just tried to fill in my brows as good as possible. It did take me a minute to get used to it because I haven't used cake powder in such a long time, but it did the trick, and I think that it wasn't really that noticeable as far as difference-wise from using my pen or pencil, but I don't know, it looks okay, right? I'm gonna get started on baking a cake actually because I am taking a cake with me. I don't know if you've seen the short video that I posted on YouTube, but I posted a Batman and Catwoman short video that was actually the same couple's anniversary. Their daughter wanted to give them a cake in their honor for their 29th anniversary, and so I made that cake for her, but I also wanted to bake one of my own. This one's gonna be more of like a smaller cake, but it's not just an anniversary cake. I wanted to show my appreciation and my thanks for allowing us to come along with them on this vacation. So I'm combining 2 in 1. I am going to be bringing back baking on this channel because the other channel is just, I feel like I'm not focused or I'm not motivated too much on it, and I have been getting comments on old videos of mine that I posted on this, and so I kind of feel like I should bring it back. I think that people like them. I guess it was helping and motivating some people. But I need to get started because it's already 11 o'clock in the morning and I have a lot to do these next couple of days. So let's stop rambling and let's just get to it. I decided to bake up 2 different cakes and I was going to combine them to make one tiered cake. So I decided to use my countertop oven. Because it is a convection oven, it does bake up a little bit quicker, and it does bake up a more dense like cake rather than a fluffier cake. The only thing is that you do have to rotate your cake pans halfway through baking. They ended up coming out really good. So this one is my almond cake. It's one of my classics that I make all the time. And since it bakes up kind of quick, I decided to put some foil over the top to keep it from burning. And the texture of the cake came out really great. The other cake that I made was a gluten-free German chocolate cake. It was a little bit thin, but it did work out. It kind of had the texture of like a fudge brownie. And this is pretty much where my day ended. And you'll see why in about 3, 2, 1. You guys, I didn't get anything done that I wanted to get done yesterday. I have so much to do today. See, what happened was I was baking my cake, I was doing my thing, and then Crystal wanted to show up because she wanted to drop off some clothes for me to try on because I was complaining that I didn't have any clothes, and I wanted to order some things off Shein, but I wasn't going to get it in time. So then I looked on Amazon and I found a couple of things that I was able to actually find on Shein that I really liked, but they were super expensive, and I didn't see myself paying $169 for 6 items on Amazon when I could pay $124 for 13 items on Shein. You know, it's been a long time since I bought clothes, so I'm like, I would rather have quantity over quality. Either way, I wasn't able to get any clothes, so she went through her closet and she was so gracious enough to let me borrow some clothes of hers. So after she came over, her and I got to talking, and then we just didn't even stop talking because that's just how me and Crystal roll. We just talk and talk and talk, and we just don't stop talking. So neither one of us got things that we needed to get done yesterday, and by the time she left, I had to go pick up my kids from the bus stop, and then that was the rest of my day. So needless to say, I have a lot to do. I already wrote down my list. It's a long one. I have lots of cleaning to do. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get through all of this cleaning because I have a lot of food prep too. I think I'm going to do most of the cleaning and the food prep today and hopefully start my cake and then pack and write the instructions and finish the cake tomorrow. So you guys, I don't have any time to waste. I can't even work out this morning. I just got to get my together and hustle. It's hustle day because tomorrow we're leaving as soon as my husband gets home from work. And by the way, tomorrow is my husband's last day at his current job. Congrats to my husband for landing his job. I'm really excited for him. So that's another reason why we decided to take this trip, because we are all celebrating something. So I'm super excited for him and our family. So yeah! All right, let's get started. I don't got any time to waste.
I've been looking for something that would give me peace of mind. You make me insecure, I pretend that it's good when I'm not. 'Cause I'm hurting, 'cause I'm bleeding, going crazy. I need you, just give me, you can help me. Now because I'm a girl, you need to help me when I'm sad. You want to help me, but I have a girl, I have a girl.
Okay, that takes so much time getting ready for the day. I'm gonna start cleaning out my refrigerator real quick. It is a complete and utter disaster. So that's what I'm gonna get started on right now. That's better. Yeah, I did the freezer too. So I didn't like clean it out or, you know, like wipe it down or anything like that because I'm in a hurry and I don't have time for all that. I just want to make sure that the refrigerator is manageable so that my kids can see exactly what's in there, know what to grab without having to go on like a search hunt and then not find what they're looking for, and all the work that I put in making food for them goes to waste. So I'm glad that I got that done. Now I got to get started on my buttercream. The humidity in the air is so real right now. I'm really worried about my buttercream being too soft. I did let it soften a little too long. It's pretty squishy. See how it's so soft that the butter is still staying on the wrapper? I don't like it when it gets that soft, but I had so much to do today. I'm just barely getting time to do this. So, see, I'm so frazzled that I didn't even unwind the cord. Get it together. So I have a bag of frozen broccoli. I'm going to just stick it underneath. Maybe I'll get something else. I have some green ones. I just want it to hit the bowl. I think for some added sturdiness, I'm actually going to put in a half a block of this shortening. I generally don't like using shortening, but because I'm going to be traveling, I want my icing to stay like firm. So I'm going to cream that in with my butter. Another thing that I'm going to add in here is some sugar-free Jell-O cheese. Well, this one is cheesecake, but you could use any flavor. The pudding mix, dry. I'm going to add that in there because that's also going to give it some stability too, and it will actually give it a little bit of a cheesecake flavor. Not by much because I'm only using a tablespoon. If anything, you might not even taste it. Okay, so I'm going to taste it just to make sure that it's good. See, the pudding mix just gives it like a slight hint of the cheesecake flavor. It's not overwhelming. I also put some almond extract in here just to give it a little bit of an almond essence to it, since the cake that I'm using is an almond cake. I wanted it to match the center of the cake and the outside of the cake. That's really good. And I added a good teaspoon of salt to balance out all that sweetness, and I used salted butter. That is the important part. I think that's the best batch of buttercream I ever made. I'm not even lying to you. That is so good. So good. Here's a little recipe card for you guys if you guys are interested in taking a screenshot and you want to try it out. While I'm waiting for my cake to thaw out, I'm going to be cutting out all of my pictures. And I do have my pictures sized to 2.5 inches wide. They look like they could have even been a little bit bigger. Like I could have even gone 3 inches. I should have done that, but it's gonna be fine. I'm just gonna go through all my pictures. I'm gonna cut them out. I'm gonna sort them, and then I'm gonna be putting them into these little cellophane wrappers, I guess you can call them. I got this kit off Amazon. I'll link it down below for you guys. It was relatively cheap, only like $8. I've made a cake like this before. Actually, the first time I attempted it, it was a money cake, but I did it on my own. I used a toilet paper roll. I cut a slit down the middle, and then I wrapped it in some foil to kind of protect it from getting too soggy inside the cake. And then I just used store-bought cellophane wraps, kind of like those cake pop wrappers. The second time I tried to make a photo cake, I bought a kit like this one, but for some reason it didn't roll out properly. This one actually worked the best, and it's actually the cheapest. The only thing that I did was I added this little straw on the inside to kind of create a spool. And because I did tape it in pretty tight, I did have to cut a couple little slits in it to give it some air so that it would continue rolling. So the bottom was a little crinkled, but other than that, it worked out really good, and I can't wait to make a cake like this again. Unfortunately, I did not get footage of them rolling it out, but you will see later on that they did pull it all out and it worked out perfectly. So I would say for $8, this was a really good little box to put inside of your picture cake. I'm not gonna lie, the construction of this cake was pretty difficult because I was trying to make 2 different cake flavors in one tier, so I had to cut the cakes down the center to create 2 different flavors on each side. So the almond flavor is to celebrate one of our friends' belated birthday. He had this trip set in stone a few months ago, but it didn't work out because he ended up having to work. So we're celebrating his birthday a little late. And then the second one is for the anniversary of my other friends, Crystal and Ramon. And since Crystal is gluten-free, I tried to recreate a gluten-free German chocolate cake. And like how I said earlier, this German chocolate cake was very fudgy, kind of like a fudge brownie. It was very gooey in the center, so when I went to go cut the layers and fit the box on the inside, the chocolate cake kind of fell apart on me. So I had to kind of reconstruct the cake in pieces, really, to be able to fit it on the other side, and it just didn't fit the way that it needed to fit. It ended up working out. It's just, it took a little longer and it was a little frustrating, but by the time I got that box in there was a gap because I didn't measure it correctly. But you'll see I did end up pulling it off, other than it crumbling apart on me. And I did fill these cakes, so I had some German chocolate filling that was really delicious. So by the time that I filled it in and I had the borders done with the buttercream, it kind of filled in the gaps, and when you went to go cut into the cake, you couldn't even really tell that it had fallen apart, because by the time we cut into it, it kind of already congealed into each other, and you couldn't tell that the layers were broken. I also added some buttercream on the inside just so that it had like a layer of buttercream to separate the almond cake from the gluten-free cake so that it wasn't technically touching each other. But when we did cut the slices open, I made sure that she didn't get any part of the almond cake in her slice. On the almond cake, I did a French vanilla mousse, and then I put some strawberry filling on the inside because that was to replicate their wedding anniversary cake, which is one of his favorite flavors, and I really wanted to kind of make that a memory for them, and I think that they really appreciated that as well. You guys, this cake was delicious, even though it was a little wonky, and it was pieced together and glued together, you know, with buttercream and cake. It actually came out really nice, and they were really appreciative of all the hard work that I put in, and they were really impressed with everything, especially when I pulled out the photos. They were not expecting that at all. I don't think they've ever seen a cake quite like this before. So the first thing my friend Don said was, "This must have taken you a lot of work." And he had to get out of the pool to give me a big hug to show his appreciation. So that made me feel really good. I'm taking a break from the cake. I wanted to get started on the food prep, so I have 1 bag of frozen chicken tenders, and I'm gonna season it with some cracked pepper and lemon, the Kinder's seasoning, and some olive oil. So I'm just gonna drizzle some olive oil, whatever I have left, there isn't much, and I'm going to season it liberally just to give it enough flavor of the lemon and pepper, and toss it up. Next, I have 6 leg quarters. That's enough for them to each have 2 pieces with 2 leg quarters left over. And since I ran out of olive oil, I'm just going to use regular vegetable oil, and I'm going to brush the tops with it. And then I'm just going to season it with some chicken seasoning because that's my kids' favorite go-to flavor. It's kind of like what their dad does when they grill it on the grill. So I'm going to do it just like that because I know they're going to like it. In fact, I think I'm going to score these. I'm just going to take a knife and I'm going to score like this, just so that they cook evenly. Like I said, this is just chicken seasoning, and I'm actually going to massage this in to both sides of the chicken. You want both sides of the chicken to be flavored. also going to season it with some more lemon pepper. This is the McCormick brand. It's not as fragrant as the Kinder's brand, but it adds a little bit of lemon and pepper flavor. And I'm also going to top it off with some paprika just to give it more color. Okay, so I'm just going to let this sit at room temperature for about 30 minutes before I start baking it. Okay, so let's stop for a minute and do these dishes real quick. Okay, now that that's done, I got more work to do. Okay, I'm just gonna make them a little fruit tray just so that it's easy for them to grab their fruit. I'm gonna put some strawberries down. Actually, I'm gonna put some paper towels down. I want my fruit to stay fresh, so I'm gonna put some paper towels down to absorb any moisture. And I'm not gonna cut the tops off the strawberries only because I don't want them to go bad quick. Now I'm just gonna chop up some potatoes because I'm gonna make mashed potatoes. I do like to peel my potatoes, and I use a peeler, like a vegetable peeler. My mom always used a paring knife, but I don't have that coordination. But I do get people who don't understand how I use my vegetable peeler because I kind of use it like a paring knife. Everyone else wants to go this way, but I feel like that's harder. So I just do it this way. I feel like when you use a paring knife, me personally, I can't get close enough to the skin. I always take off so much potato. So I'd rather just do a vegetable peeler because it makes it a lot faster. So I'm just gonna rinse these and then I'm gonna let them soak in water until I'm ready to cook them. So this morning I made some beans and they're already done. So I'm gonna smash these up and make refried beans, and then I'm going to be making some burritos. When I'm making mashed beans, I don't even call them refried beans because they're not. I just mash them. I don't use any oil or anything. And I don't over mash them either. I like to have some whole beans left in there. So I'm just gonna have some of the bean water in there and some salt. And that looks good, let's taste it. Good. It was good enough salt too. All right, let's make burritos. So just like my fruit, I'm gonna line the bottom with some paper towels to keep any moisture out. Okay, so I have some rice here. I have my beans and I have my meat. I have taco meat and I have shredded beef. I'm just gonna make as many as I can, probably just 8. And you gotta be careful not to overfill these. What, the cake? I decided that I wanted to just finish this cake, get it done so that it can sit in the refrigerator overnight and I don't have to worry about it falling apart on me because that way it could stay pretty cold the entire way. The trip was about 3.5 hours long, and surprisingly the cake did keep its shape. It did shift a little bit because my husband sometimes he does take those corners a little too hard, but other than that, it maintained its shape. I did end up making some buttercream that was shortening only just to give it some more stability, make sure the cake was going to stay intact. So it did a pretty good job, and I'm going to let you guys finish watching what I'm doing here, and hopefully you like what you see. And it's basically just chocolate dipped strawberries and cherries, so there's really not a whole lot left here for you guys to see.
Keep it simple, keep it sweet. is a line I heard somewhere. And feel the ground under your feet. It can take you anywhere. Chasing shadows with you. Let's get broken, then repair. In times of anger, feeling hopeless, find that light under the door. Build a bridge right to the shore. All that could have been talking would have been once. Ain't never done much for him. Keep it simple, keep it sweet, is a line I heard somewhere. Feel that ground beneath your feet. It can take you anywhere.
My chicken was pretty much done cooking by this point, so I just turned it up to 450 degrees just to brown the top, and I cooked it for about 10 more minutes. And it came out perfectly golden brown on both sides. It was very tender and delicious. In fact, when I got home, I remade this dish myself, so I was able to eat some because it looked that good, and it really was. And then it was time for me to start cooking my chicken tenders, and I just cooked that in a pan with a little bit of oil until it was fully cooked on both sides. I just try to keep all of the food very simple so it's easy for them to reheat and eat it. Meanwhile, I was also boiling my potatoes, and those were done as well. So I just mashed in some butter and some milk. They were a little undercooked, but they still came out pretty good, and the kids didn't complain. Then I also made some bow tie macaroni because that's my daughter's favorite pasta, and I kept that simple as well. Usually I just do buttered noodles, but I added a little bit of Alfredo sauce just to give it some structure so that when they reheated it, they weren't too dry. And since broccoli is their favorite, I just added in a little bit of broccoli and some Parmesan cheese and a little bit of this cracked pepper Parmesan Kinder seasoning. So delicious. Perfect. And at that point, I was done with everything. And so I put them in some foil pans just so that it was easy for them to pop them into the oven and bake them off for about 20 minutes at 350 degrees. And they were able to microwave their mashed potatoes and their rice and reheat the burritos in the microwave. The apple slices did turn a little bit brown, but they're still good. And they really appreciated everything that I served for them. And it was almost all gone by the time I got home.
It is all in one place for easy packing. And I'm sure I'm going to take some flack for the Lunchables because I know they aren't the absolute.
It is now the next morning, and I'm getting ready for my departure, and I still have my clothes to pack. I didn't have any chance to do that. I also wanted to change my sheets for Bubba since he's going to be sleeping in our bed, and I had some last minute cleaning to do, so I got as much done as I possibly could. And I even wrote down some instructions for our babysitter and for the kids to keep them on track with our routine. And then I decided to curl my hair and get ready to leave. This was a much needed vacation for us. We didn't really get to do anything this year as far as vacation wise goes. So we did not want to pass up this opportunity, and I'm so blessed to be able to have done this. And the views on the way there was just so beautiful and breathtaking. I know that our windows are pretty dirty, so you don't get a very clear picture, but just imagine if the windows weren't there on how much beauty there is on the way to Arizona. When we finally arrived, we jumped into the pool immediately. It was like bathwater, but it was so refreshing at the same time. And like I said earlier, my friends were just so impressed with the cake. I wish I would have gotten footage of us actually pulling it out. but they enjoyed it, and I was really like taken back that they took all the time that they needed to go through all the photos, and they were like, where did you get these photos from? But I pulled it off and it made me so happy, and they really loved the amaretto and the strawberries and the cherries. So that's it, and now we're off to Vegas, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.